Ms. Keys-Gamarra, would you like to speak to your second?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. It is my honor to support Board Member Evans's motion, as it is a compromise that encompasses many viewpoints, attempts to address the needs of members of her community, and emphasizes not the missteps of our past, but on the power and hope of our future. I also encourage my colleagues to support this motion as well. This is Ms. Evans's community, and she has worked through many meetings with her community and beyond to reach this resolution. As many of you know, I initially suggested that the school be named after Thurgood Marshall. But some on this board expressed concern that it could produce confusion with a nearby high school. I listened to those concerns, have talked with many of my colleagues as that were available, and have met with as many people as time would allow in my now nearly 45-day tenure on this board. What I have learned through reading all the emails, the background information on the history of our school system and the like, is that we have truly had a difficult history as a board. We have attempted to have hard discussions, and now it is time to advocate for a resolution. For me, the most prominent factor through the process of decision-making has been how this discussion started with the students. Students from Jeb Stuart High School came forward and began to question the name on their school. They, for me, are heroes. I define that word as such because I believe that all change begins with a simple question: why? They asked why, and rightly so. Their questions have challenged our sense of history and is helping to define how we move forward. It was their actions that led me on the journey of understanding the history of the FCPS school system, our Commonwealth, and desegregation, how the massive resistance was part and parcel of how the name came to be, and how FCPS struggled to respond to the Brown versus Board of Education decision. Irrespective of how we view history, I believe that we can all agree what happened back then isn't right for us today. And that leads me back to the students, because that is my primary focus. In my professional life, I focus on fighting for the best interests of children every day, and I simply cannot remove that lens for this decision. I have wrestled with my understanding of the past, the historical documents that showed how state funds were used to place the name of a Confederate general on this school, and others. I have pondered the weight that all of this represents. That weight is the elephant in the room. In my discussion with some of my colleagues and even some in the community, I have been faced with those who cherish their past, and they have a type of nostalgia. I don't fault anyone for those feelings. It's okay, and those people should not be, and I believe are not, condemned in this motion. What this motion represents is a recognition that we have learned through the process, that history has taught us that our children, all children, irrespective of their background, race, or zip code, are important and hold potential that we as a community cannot afford to lose. Unfortunately, the symbol that this board voted to remove in July, the name of a Confederate general placed on a school using state funds, does not represent or encourage that potential for all students. For many, the Confederacy and its symbols are vestiges of our past that separate us as a community and as a nation. This is the burden that I seek to lift today. I want to say this again, and as clearly as I am able. There is a burden associated with the name we are removing. As an attorney who focuses on improving the lives of children, I am well aware of how such burdens can not only hinder, but even cripple those who are forced to carry them. That burden is inextricably connected to the history of our Commonwealth and our community. They cannot be separated. Historical context matters. Names matter. For the last 50 years or so, we have lifted up a name that did not inspire our entire community to rise. With my vote, I seek to rectify that today. We are at a crossroads, and it is my hope to walk through this journey with my colleagues in an effort to provide a future for our children and their children that is lighter and brighter than the past. I believe that we have a responsibility. I believe that it is the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do because this proposal encompasses the wishes of as many citizens as possible and residents. It's the right thing to do because this name does not ignore or turn a blind eye to history. It's the right thing to do because this name does not condemn or blame anyone. It's the right thing to do because it lifts the burden of a weighty and controversial history. It's the right thing to do because people have been impacted through actions that those same people could not control. And it's the right thing to do because of the simple words that we all shared earlier today. When we said the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. These are the words that have inspired me to support this motion. This is the only motion that does not lift the importance of one person above another. This motion sends the right message to our students and to our community. Madam Chair, my fellow colleagues, I humbly second the motion to rename this school to Justice High School. We will honor Justice Thurgood Marshall for his contribution to advance education for every resident in the United States through his efforts on the Brown versus Board of Education case. We will honor Barbara Johns, a courageous young girl who stood up to authority and to face educational injustice. And we will honor Colonel Mendez, who wore the uniform for this country and lived in this community. They represent those simple words, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.